The Real Robot, Rowan here. Today we're going to be talking about the amazing, confusing oxymoron philosophy that actually isn't philosophy because there is actually no value, so it can't be a philosophy because philosophy doesn't exist, of nihilism. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Start off with this. The best loved comic book character by our generation is a devout hedonistic nihilist. Hedonism meaning that the end of all life is just to enjoy yourself, and nihilism meaning that there is no objective values. Which character is this? It's Deadpool. Why do people love Deadpool so much? I've always wondered this. I'm not a big fan of Deadpool. I'm a big fan of comics, but not of Deadpool. And why do people love Deadpool so much? And I was thinking about this. Like, what is it about him that makes people so enticed by him? All the girls love him despite him being not the most attractive young man, and all the guys think he's the coolest, most suave dude there is, despite him being a total, moron. He's funny, can't do that, but what is it that people actually like about Deadpool? And I was thinking about this, and I think the reason people like him is because he is an example of a successful nihilist. Now, hold on. I know what you're going to say, but he's not a nihilist. He has values. Hold on there, all right? Now, if you actually, there are variants, right? Recently, Deadpool was seen to have values. He doesn't kill children, I don't think. I don't remember. I don't think, actually, that they would get away with that. But the thing about him is he doesn't have to pay the consequences for his actions. He's not doing anything evil, it's just for the entertainment of the readers. Now, we can apply this to a philosophy standpoint by saying, if nihilism was the true philosophy, we can apply this and say anything we do has no lasting effect. And just as Deadpool is a successful hedonistic nihilist, he indulges in sex, he kills for money, he kills for fun, he does whatever he wants, and he doesn't pay the consequences. Why? Because he's invulnerable, he's invincible. And there are many movies also like that, that emulate hedonistic nihilism. Hedonism and nihilism do go hand in hand. I think a true hedonist has to embrace a bit of nihilism, and a true nihilist has to embrace some hedonist if they're going to enjoy life. So if you were thinking, what is nihilism? I've never even heard the term. I don't even know what philosophy is if it wasn't for your amazing video, Rowan. Nihilism is basically, could be one of three things. The first one is political nihilism. Anti-institutionalism is another way to call it. And it's basically the destruction of all political, social, and religious order in a prerequisite to any future improvement. Okay, that's confusing. It's basically any society, a successful society, can't exist without a political institution. Any religious institution, no social institutions. No, that would be no welfare, no government, and it rejected the authority of the state, church, and family. It sounds like anarchy, but it's not. There's a difference because anarchy can allow for the church and the family, just not the state. But this has any institution whatsoever. You are literally fending for yourself. So it's like basically an evolutionary contest where there is no organizations, nothing to bind us. It's just nothing. So it's not anarchy. It's more, I would say, primitive egoism. Considered during the time of Great Depression during Russia, so they were saying, let's just throw all of it out of the window and forget it. We're done with this institutionalism. And during the time, the church was oppressive, the state was oppressive, and the family was seen as strict and conservative. And so the people of the time said, let's just throw it all out. The next type of nihilism is ethical nihilism, or moral nihilism. Moral nihilism, ethical nihilism, that's both of the second type. And it pretty much says any values, good and bad, they don't exist. There's no such thing as good and evil. It's just our perception of reality. It's what we think, it's what we make up as an evolutionary mode of survival. That's ethical or moral nihilism. I don't think anyone could be a true ethical nihilist. Everyone knows that there is some sense of good or bad. No possible person in their right mind, in their state of sanity, can condone maybe the murder of children, the genocide of Jews, or the extinction of the whole entire human race. Extinction of the human race does sound pretty good. You can look at the TV and see atrocities committed every day and say that is bad. Last part, the funnest part. The funnest? Is funnest a word? Look at funnest. Is funnest a word? Nope. Nope. Funnest is not a word. The last one is existential nihilism. It basically says life has no meaning. Outside of our own existence, in the sphere of the reality, there's nothing. There's no God, there's no beauty, it's just nothing. And this is really tied closely to a sense of hopelessness in the universe. I mean, think about how big the universe and how small we are. We're just not even a speck. You look at ourselves in the galaxy and we're insignificant, and then compare that to the universe, and then compare that to the multiverse, and then the multiverse, and then we realize, oh my goodness, I'm insignificant, and there's nothing possibly that I can contribute to anything. And then this allows for a sense of despair to creep in, and a sense of there's nothing beyond me. Right? Most ethical nihilists will be existential nihilists, and most existential nihilists will be ethical nihilists. Except for we just said before that ethical nihilism is kind of impossible, but they hold some sort of ethical nihilism. A modern version of ethical nihilism would be something called postmodernism, which is basically the same thing as ethical nihilism. Instead, in saying that there is no good and bad, they take a step forward and say, well, there is good and bad, but your good and my good just aren't the same. I mean, you may something is good, I may something is good, but I mean, there's no measurement to measure. I mean, it's subjective. It's all subjective. Well, it's really not. Or any religion would not believe in subjective values, because if values are subjective, then there's no basis to rule them on, and then just God can't have a measurement to measure what is good and bad. Therefore, he can't be just, because there is no justice. What would a true nihilist look like? Well, I have my friend, Steve, the nihilist, to give us a talk about that. Is my microphone? Oh, wow. You see, ladies, God? I mean, he doesn't exist. And it's just a hope y'all cling to so you guys can feel secure. You see, God, you think God exists because you want him to. Christians have killed tons of people. Muslims kill people. Somewhere around the point, Jews kill people. I mean, it's not the best thing. Mankind, we just become lost. The world is chaos, and anyone who looks at the news can see that. And it's rightly so. You see, the world is just there. It's not anything interesting. It's not anything meaningful. It's just the way it is. I would care about other people. I mean, other people, they will die soon, so why help? Why help yourself? I mean, you're gonna die. Why spend the time realizing that life has meaning when it really don't have meaning, if you know what I mean? We create memories where there is none. Imagine this, right? You're gonna go make a paper about a poem. Alright? And the poem, you think the rose means something, and the rose actually don't mean nothing. And you think the rose means something, but it doesn't. And you go to your teacher, and the teacher says, man, that rose has no symbolic issue to it whatsoever. And you say, I swear it does. It represents death. It's obviously death. And then your teacher goes on and says, no, it's just rose. He said, I would swear it represented death. Well, that's what we do to our lives, you see. We try and make things make sense because we don't like things that don't make sense. When in reality, nothing really makes sense. You see, if you become a nihilist, you'll get a new realization. And you realize that why work for school? Why get a good job? Why stay with their family? They're just gonna die. Everything dies. Why nihilism has to exist is because you see murder every day. If there's objective good, why don't people do it? If there's objective bad, why don't people step back? That's the whole point of nihilism. See, I'm a certified nihilist. Right there. Steve the Nihilist. That's me. That's me, Steve. I hope you can be a nihilist too, because really, nobody understands the world. Thank you, Steve. Now, back to nihilism. I think nihilism has a huge impact on people today. You may be watching this video and think, this is ridiculous. Who would believe in nihilism? I think in a sense we all have a little bit of nihilism in us. I think in a sense we all have this alienated sense of almost hopelessness that lurks within our souls. Like, we can't do anything good. We're not good. This is all hopeless. The situation we are in is just so terrible. Nihilism is self-defeating. All right? Suppose we take Steve the Nihilist over there. Steve said it earlier, that nihilism, you have to embrace the fact that there is no meaning. You have to embrace the fact that there is no truth. Well, why would you embrace the fact that there is no truth? The fact that there is no truth? Isn't that a fact? The fact that there is no truth. Well, I mean, that's a fact. So that must be untrue. Therefore, there must be truth. Therefore, we're entering into a paradox in which we really can't comprehend. So there has to be. It's a logical incongruency. See, a lot of people will claim that nihilism gives us transcendence, a new realization. I mean, we have to accept the fact, or else we're fools. We cling on to this false hope. But think about this. When we accept reason, man in themselves can do great things. We can land on the moon. We can split the atom. We can create wars and cause peace. But when we tear down the moral implications of reason, we find ourselves in a hopeless muddle, unable to proceed further because there is no meaning. That's why a lot of atheists are nihilists. They have to be. I mean, the only end for atheism is nihilism. If there's no God, there's nothing over us. There's no God, there's nothing to answer to except for this government that we've created. Why did we create a government? So we can keep ourselves in check. But why would we keep ourselves in check and keep ourselves in reality if there is no reality? It blows my mind. It really does. Just can't accept it. Reason can take us far, but nihilism, when we toss reason out, I'm keeping you. When we toss reason out, we become a hopeless metal. Think about Franz Kafka, another nihilist. He died, he said this: all my writings, I want you to burn them. He said that to his best friend. And that was the practice of nihilism. All that work he did, all of the transcendence, all the thinking, all of the effort, he wanted to burn, and that's practicing nihilism. Everything you do in a nihilist mind means nothing. It's as if every good you do is just burned up in the abyss of the universe, and the ashes we have are just created and then destroyed forever once the universe ends. Maybe I'm too ignorant to accept the fact that there is no hopelessness, that there is hopelessness, but I, for one, like to believe that hope exists. You can't have hope and still be alive. Hope is like the motor that drives the car of your soul. If you have no hope, then you kill yourself. And some people do run out of hope. And that's when you enter a world of pain. A true nihilist would believe in nothing, have no loyalties, no purpose other than the impulse to destroy. His life, he'd drown himself. If everyone in the world was a nihilist, humanity would be dead. Talk to you. See you next time. And remember, if it can be destroyed by facts, it deserves to be destroyed. This is a real robot. Rowan out.